All right, so you ready for this? We're going deep, deep into Reason Yourself Rich.
Oh, yeah, this is the one you sent me, right?
Yeah, the excerpt, from what I can gather, it's co-written.
I mean, just the title alone,
Yeah.
Reason Yourself Rich. It's like kind of implying that, wealth is just a matter of like logic and thinking your way there.
Like a recipe or...
Yeah, exactly. Like just, think the right thoughts and poof, you're a millionaire.
But, I mean, don't you think there is something to be said about mindset? Like, if you constantly think you're going to fail, you probably will, right?
Yeah, for sure. Mindset plays a role, but it's
Yeah.
not the whole story. I mean, come on, there's so much more to it.
Right, of course.
Like socioeconomic factors, like just dumb luck.
Totally.
But it's interesting, though, how this author, Renalde's Deception.
Oh, yeah, what a name.
Right. Like, he presents himself as, like, this certifiable genius who's studied hundreds of, what does he call them? Achievers. But then he also says things like, do what your heart tells you because your gallbladder is a lying, deceitful control freak.
Wait, what? Hold on. The gallbladder.
Yeah, you heard that right.
I mean, is this guy for real? Like, is he trying to be funny, or is he actually, like, serious with this advice?
I know, right? It's like, is this a parody of self-help books, or is it actually trying to be one?
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's like he's winking at the reader, like, hey, I'm in on the joke. But then he also has these moments where he seems totally serious about this crazy advice.
Like, remember that part where he's talking about achieving success? And he just casually throws out child labor, heavy drinking, and payoffs, as if it's, like, normal.
Oh, yeah, I was like, what is going on here?
It's so over the top, so wrong. It's almost like he's deliberately trying to be outrageous.
Maybe he's playing on that whole, cultural fascination with the darker side of wealth.
Like the Wolf of Wall Street kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he's selling us this image of a hedonistic guru, living the high life with like special pats and teenage orgies.
Wait, hold on. Special pats. Did I read that right?
Oh, yeah, that's in there.
What does he even mean by that?
I have no idea.
It's like, is this supposed to be, like, aspirational? Because it's just creepy.
That's so weird.
Okay, so moving on from whatever special pats are.
Let's try.
He also has this, like, really bizarre interpretation of Charlie Chaplin's success.
Oh, yeah, what's his take on that?
So he basically attributes Chaplin's success to, like, 3 things: a funny walk, baggy pants, and marrying a 14-year-old.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. First of all, that's gross.
Totally.
And second of all, it completely ignores Chaplin's actual talent, his genius as a filmmaker.
Yeah, it's like he's reducing this complex thing, like success, down to just a few, like, superficial elements.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, oh, you want to be successful, just walk funny and wear baggy pants. And yeah, let's not finish that sentence.
Please don't.
But yeah, it's just so oversimplified and misleading.
And then it gets even better because he goes on to say that we should basically just ignore criticism.
Really?
Yeah, he actually says we should burn letters from people who criticize us.
Oh, like those cease and desist letters.
He calls them CAD debtors, but yeah, I think that's what he means.
I mean, is that really the message we want to be sending? Just like completely shut down any feedback or criticism?
I mean, part of growing is learning from your mistakes, right?
Yeah, and being open to feedback, even if it's tough to hear.
So this whole burn the letters thing just seems counterproductive.
It's like he's encouraging people to live in this bubble of, like, self-delusion.
Yeah, or at least to avoid any kind of accountability.
Exactly. And look, confidence is important,
Right.
but it's got to be balanced with, like, self-awareness and a willingness to learn and grow.
Oh, absolutely.
And this guy, Deception, he just seems to throw all that out the window.
Yeah, and speaking of self-delusion, there's that part where he claims to be, like, a simile.
A simile.
Yeah, simile. But then he admits that it doesn't help him get through the express checkout line any faster.
Okay, so that's just confusing.
No, right? It's like he's trying so hard to sound profound, but then he just contradicts himself in the next sentence.
I think that's part of the humor of this text. It's
Yeah.
like you can see him trying so hard to pull off this wise guru persona, but his logic just crumbles every time.
It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion.
Exactly. You know it's going to be bad, but you just can't look away.
Okay, so let's talk about this Gandhi parable, if you can even call it that.
Oh, yeah, the Gandhi parable. What was that all about?
So he tells this story about Gandhi waking up and finding that meerkats have, like, gnawed off his legs.
Meerkats, like those cute little animals.
I guess so.
What do meerkats have to do with Gandhi?
I have no idea. But anyway, so Gandhi wakes up, no legs, and his first thought is, golly, It's a good thing this parable isn't about me.
Wait, that's it. That's the whole parable.
Pretty much.
I mean, first of all, it's incredibly disrespectful to Gandhi and his whole philosophy of, nonviolence.
Yeah.
But second of all, there's, no moral to the story. There's no point.
No lesson, no takeaway, just meerkats and missing legs.
It's like he just threw a bunch of random words together and hoped it would sound profound.
Maybe he's trying to be ironic. Like he's making one of those motivational speakers who tell these irrelevant stories.
Possibly, but honestly, it just comes across as, really bad writing.
Yeah, I'm starting to lean towards bad writing at this point.
Okay, so then he hits the reader with this barrage of, disjointed questions.
Oh, yeah, like a rapid-fire Q&A session.
Yeah, what would you do to win the lottery? And then, if you were given £1 million English pounds, would you want it in money or bricks?
I mean, those are, wildly different questions.
Okay. Right, and then he throws in some personal ones, too, about compensating for something you feel is lacking.
Okay, yeah, and that's where it gets kind of creepy.
Yeah, because he talks about low self-esteem and then immediately suggests, asking that person out on a date.
It's like he's equating wealth with, desirability and saying that money can solve all your problems.
Right. Even, deep-seated insecurities.
That's a pretty messed up message to send, especially to people who are already feeling vulnerable.
It is, and it reveals a lot about this whole underlying belief system in the book, that wealth is, the ultimate measure of worth.
And everything else is just secondary.
Exactly. It's this, disturbing conflation of financial success with personal fulfillment.
Money can't buy happiness, but this guy's acting like it's the solution to everything.
Right. And it
Okay.
ignores all the other things that contribute to a fulfilling life, like relationships, personal growth, experiences.
Right.
It's like he's saying, just get rich and all your problems will magically disappear.
Yeah, which is obviously not true.
Not even close.
Okay, so then we get to the part where he just randomly decides he hates the number 11.
The number 11.
Yeah, he says 11 answerers are the devil's instruments and that they should slide under a truck.
Seriously, what does that even mean?
I have absolutely no idea.
It's like he's just making up these arbitrary rules for success.
Yeah, it's like step 1,
Yeah.
get rich. Step 2, avoid the number 11 at all costs.
It's so bizarre. It's almost funny.
Yeah, almost.
But it also makes you question, is this guy even sane?
Okay, and then he misquotes Mark Twain, which is the cherry on top.
How does he misquote Mark Twain?
He says that Twain found quitting smoking easy because he did it thousands of times.
Oh, I've heard that one before.
But that's not even what Twain said, and it totally misses the point of his humor.
Yeah, that quote is often taken out of context.
Exactly. And it's like, this guy's trying to use Twain's authority to make his own questionable advice sound more legitimate.
It's a classic self-help tactic. Name drop a famous person, twist their words, and boom, you've got instant credibility.
Right. Even if it's totally inaccurate.
Exactly, and people fall for it all the time.
And we can't forget about the anecdote with Franklin D. Roosevelt staring fear in the face, which it turns out was actually Eleanor Roosevelt.
Wait, what? He got FDR and Eleanor mixed up?
Yeah, I mean, how do you even do that?
Come on, man, do your research.
But at the same time, it's kind of hilarious. Right?
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. You can't help but laugh.
Is he intentionally trying to be funny at this point?
It's hard to say, but either way, it's a brilliant form of misdirection.
How so?
It's like he sets us up for the serious moment, about facing your fears.
Yeah.
And then he just throws in this absurd punchline that completely undercuts the whole thing.
It keeps you on your toes, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder what crazy thing he's going to say next.
Okay, so then, just when you think it can't get any weirder, he throws in this part about his own fear of deadlines.
Oh, the irony.
Right. And he talks about how he eventually just lost interest in the project. He just gave up.
So, wait, the self-help guru is admitting that he can't even follow his own advice.
Pretty much.
Oh, that's meta.
Right. It's like he's pulling back the curtain and saying, hey, I'm just a flawed human being just like you.
And that kind of subverts the whole image of the all-knowing guru, doesn't it?
Totally. It makes you question if he's even trying to be taken seriously at this point.
Maybe he's making a statement about, the whole pursuit of wealth and fame.
If even he can't keep up the facade, what does that say about this whole reason yourself rich thing?
Exactly. And that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of this deep dive.
So stay tuned, folks. Things are about to get even weirder.
Yeah, buckle up. We're just getting started. I mean, that ending, though, right? It just kind of stops.
Yeah, totally, out of nowhere.
It's like he got bored or something and was just like, okay, I'm done with this book.
You think that was intentional? Like some sort of commentary?
Maybe. It's hard to say with this guy.
Yeah, true, true.
I mean, it could be like he's saying even he, this like self-proclaimed guru, can't be bothered to actually follow through, you know?
Huh. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that.
Like even he can't reason himself rich.
Right. Which kind of makes you wonder, what's the point of all this then?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? Like, what can we actually take away from this?
Yeah, besides the meerkats and the gallbladders.
Right, exactly.
So, like, what stood out to you the most from all of this?
Well, for me, it's like, even though the advice is totally bonkers, it does kind of make you think about, you know, the whole self-help industry.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, it's like, there are so many people out there claiming to have all the answers.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like a dime a dozen.
But this book, it's like a reminder to not just take everything at face value.
Right, to be a little skeptical, right?
Exactly. To like really question what you're reading and who you're getting your advice from.
Because not all advice is good advice.
Definitely not. And sometimes the most valuable lessons are the ones about what not to do.
So, in a way, this book is kind of like a reverse self-help guide.
I like that. A reverse self-help guide.
Like, here are all the things you should definitely not do if you want to be successful.
Yeah, and maybe that's Deception's whole point. Like, he's actually a genius satirist who's exposing the absurdity of the self-help industry.
Okay, but even if that's true, like, it still doesn't really answer the question of, like, what can we do to actually improve our lives, right?
Right. It doesn't give us any real practical advice.
So where do we go from here?
Well, I think it starts with defining success on your own terms.
Yeah, not letting some self-proclaimed guru tell you what you should be striving for.
Exactly. Like, what are your values? What do you want to achieve in life?
Because, like, success looks different for everyone.
Yeah, totally. And it's not all about money and fame.
Like having meaningful relationships, pursuing your passions, making a positive impact on the world.
Right. Those things are important too.
Maybe even more important.
You think so?
So, yeah, maybe instead of trying to reason ourselves rich, we should be focusing on living a fulfilling life.
Yeah, a life that's aligned with our values and our goals.
And, maybe throwing in a little bit of luck along the way.
Oh, for sure. Luck always helps.
But even without the luck, like if you're putting in the effort and you're passionate about what you're doing,
Yeah.
good things will happen.
They will. I truly believe that.
So maybe that's the real lesson here. It's not about following some crazy formula or listening to some guru who thinks your gallbladder is a liar.
Right.
It's about figuring out what's important to you and then going after it with everything you've got.
And being open to learning and growing along the way.
Exactly. So even though Reason Yourself Rich is a total train wreck of a book,
Oh, it definitely is.
maybe it can still teach us something valuable.
I think so. It's like a cautionary tale.
Yeah, or a reminder to not take ourselves too seriously.
And to always, always question the so-called experts.
Especially the ones who claim to be certifiable geniuses.
Right. Because sometimes the best advice comes from the most unexpected places.
Or in this case, the worst advice can lead to some pretty insightful conversations.
Exactly. So thank you, Renalde's Deceptione'ism, for being so ridiculously wrong that you actually made us think.
And laugh. Let's not forget the laughs.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a lot of laughs.
So even though this deep dive into Reason Yourself Rich has been wild,
To say the least.
I think we've managed to salvage some valuable insights.
I think we have too.
So, where do we go from here?
Well, I think it's time to move on to a new book, a new deep dive.
One that hopefully doesn't involve any meerkats or gallbladders?
Or special pats.
Oh, please, let's not even go there.
But seriously, I'm curious to see what other strange and wonderful texts are out there waiting to be explored.
Me too. So,
Huh.
until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those gallbladders in check.
And remember, don't believe everything you read, especially if it comes from a self-proclaimed, certifiable genius.
So it's like he's making fun of us, right? Like all of us.
Yeah, in a way, I guess.
But like also makes you think.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's definitely thought-provoking.
It's wild how this like totally absurd book can actually spark some pretty deep conversations.
Right. Like, who would have thought?
Definitely not me when I first picked it up.
I mean, it's like, you know those cheesy horror movies? So bad they're good.
Oh yeah,
So
totally.
this book is kind of like that.
Like a so bad it's good self-help book.
Exactly. You laugh at it, but then you also find yourself, like, actually thinking about some of the stuff he's saying.
Yeah, even if it's just to figure out why it's so wrong.
Right, exactly. It makes you question your own beliefs and, like, the whole idea of what success even means.
So maybe that's the real takeaway here.
What do you mean?
Like maybe the point isn't to actually reason yourself rich, but to like question everything.
Oh, interesting.
to not just blindly accept what you're told, even if it comes from a self-proclaimed certifiable genius.
And to laugh along the way, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Got to have a sense of humor about it all,
Because life's too short to take everything so seriously.
especially self-help books.
Especially self-help books written by motivational non-speakers who think your gallbladder is out to get you.
All right, well, I think we've officially squeezed every last drop of wisdom out of Reason Yourself Rich.
I think so too.
It's been a wild ride full of meerkats, gallbladders, and let's not forget the special pats.
Oh, God. The special pets, let's just leave those in the past where they belong.
Agreed. But in all seriousness, I think we've learned a lot from this deep dive.
I think so too. It's been fun.
Yeah, it has. And a little bit terrifying, but mostly fun.
Definitely mostly fun.
So until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those gallbladders in check.
And remember, don't believe everything you read, especially if it comes from a motivational non-speaker.
Or anyone who claims to be a certifiable genius.
Or anyone who uses the phrase special pets. All right, that's it for us. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the wonderfully wacky world of Reason Yourself Rich.
See you next time.